life can be unpredictable, can't it? One minute you're cruising along and the next you're hit with a sudden expense. It could be anything from a broken boiler to unexpected car repairs. These things always seem to happen at the worst possible time, don't they? That's why having a bit tucked away in a savings account is crucial. Think of it as your financial safety net, a buffer against those unexpected bumps in the road. Now you might be thinking, Graham, I'm already just getting by. Saving money seems like a luxury. But let me tell you, having that financial cushion can make all the difference. It's not about being wealthy, it's about having that peace of mind, knowing you can handle whatever life throws your way. When you have a savings safety net, you're less likely to rely on credit cards or loans when those unexpected costs arise. This means you avoid racking up debt and paying hefty interest charges. Even putting aside a small amount each month can make a world of difference in the long run. Now let's talk about the peace of mind that comes with a healthy savings account. There's something incredibly reassuring about knowing you have a financial cushion to fall back on. When you have money set aside for emergencies, you can approach life's challenges with a clearer head. You're not as stressed about unexpected bills, and you can make better financial decisions overall. Instead, you can focus on the things that truly matter: your family, your passions, and living a fulfilling life. Having that financial security allows you to pursue your dreams and aspirations with more confidence. Right, let's be honest, none of us can predict the future, can we? We never know what's around the corner. It could be a sudden job loss, a medical emergency, or even something as simple as your car packing up. Life throws us curveballs, and it's best to be prepared, wouldn't you say? That's where a savings account comes in handy. It acts as a financial security blanket, a buffer against the unexpected. It's like having a trusty umbrella tucked away in your bag on a cloudy day. You might not need it, but it's there just in case. Now, I understand that for some, saving might seem like an uphill battle, especially when you're starting out. But even putting aside a small amount each month can make a difference. Think of it as paying your future self, paying your... Now let's talk about emergencies, shall we? They're an unfortunate part of life, and they never seem to happen at a convenient time, do they? This is where an emergency fund comes into play. It's essentially a pot of money set aside specifically for those unexpected events. Think of it as your financial first aid kit, ready to patch you up when life throws its little surprises your way. A good rule of thumb is to have 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses tucked away. The key takeaway here is this: an emergency fund is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Having a healthy savings account isn't just about weathering storms, you know. It's also about creating opportunities and giving yourself options. Imagine this: you've always wanted to start your own business, haven't you? Or perhaps take that dream holiday you've been putting off for years. With a healthy savings account, these aspirations become that much more attainable. You see, when you have money set aside, you're not as bound by financial constraints. You have the freedom to take calculated risks, explore new opportunities, and pursue your passions without constantly worrying about the financial implications. Whether it's taking a career break to travel the world, investing in your education, or simply having the flexibility to work less and spend more time with loved ones, a healthy savings account empowers you to live a more fulfilling and meaningful life. Right then, before we dive into the nitty-gritty of how much to stash away, let's take a moment to assess where you stand, shall we? It's a bit like planning a journey, really. You wouldn't just set off without knowing your starting point and destination, would you? So grab yourself a cuppa, find a comfy spot, and let's have a chinwag about your financial picture. First things first, take a good hard look at your income. That's the money coming in each month, whether it's from your job, a side hustle, or any other sources. Got that figure in mind? Splendid. Now let's turn our attention to your expenses. Once you have a clear understanding of your income and expenses, you can start to identify areas where you might be able to free up some cash for saving. Now let's talk about income stability, shall we? It's all well and good having a savings goal in mind, but if your income is as predictable as the British weather, it can make things a bit trickier, can't it? One way to approach this is to create a budget based on your average income over the past few months. Then, during those more lucrative periods, you can bump up your savings contributions to make up for the leaner times. Another handy tip is to build up an emergency fund that's slightly larger than the recommended 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. Section 3, Outgoings and Expenses. Now let's talk about those pesky outgoings, shall we? You know, those regular expenses that seem to eat away at our hard-earned cash. It's amazing how quickly they can add up, isn't it? The key here is to be mindful of your spending habits without feeling like you're depriving yourself. Start by tracking your expenses for a month or two. You can use a notebook, a spreadsheet, or one of those handy budgeting apps. This will give you a clear picture of where your money is actually going. Once you have a good understanding of your spending patterns, you can identify areas where you might be able to cut back without drastically impacting your lifestyle. Section 4, Financial Goals. Right then, let's have a chinwag about financial goals, shall we? You see, saving isn't just about stashing money away for a rainy day, it's about having something to aim for, wouldn't you say? Start by identifying what's truly important to you. What do you want to achieve with your finances? Once you have a clear vision in mind, break down your goals into smaller, more manageable steps. Having specific goals along with a timeline and a savings plan can make the whole process feel less daunting and more achievable. Section 1, the magic number. Now, I know what you're thinking, Graham. Just tell me how much to squirrel away. Well, there's no one-size-fits-all answer, is there? But there are some handy guidelines we can follow, like a trusty compass guiding us through the financial wilderness. You'll often hear financial experts spouting about the 3 to 6 months of expenses rule for emergency savings. Essentially, you want to have enough tucked away to cover your essential living costs for that period, should the unexpected occur. Now, this magic number will vary depending on your circumstances, won't it? If you're a young whippersnapper just starting out with fewer financial responsibilities, you might aim for the lower end of that range. But if you've got a family to support and a mortgage to pay, you'll want a more substantial cushion, wouldn't you? Now, when we talk about essential living expenses, what exactly do we mean? Well, picture this. You've hit a bit of a rough patch and need to tighten the purse strings for a while. What are those non-negotiable costs you absolutely can't skimp on? We're talking about the essentials here, folks. Your rent or mortgage payments, those pesky utility bills, groceries to keep you going, and any debt repayments you've got hanging over your head. These are the things that keep a roof over your head and food on the table, wouldn't you agree? Now notice I didn't mention fancy holidays or nights out on the town. When building your emergency fund, focus on covering those core expenses first and foremost. It's not about living a life of deprivation, but rather prioritizing those must-haves over the nice-to-haves. Now, while those general guidelines are a good starting point, remember your saving strategy should be as unique as you are, shouldn't it? It's like a tailored suit. It needs to fit you perfectly. Consider your personal circumstances, my friends. Are you a freelancer with a fluctuating income? You might want a larger emergency fund to tide you over during lean months. Got a stable job and a healthy risk appetite. You might allocate more towards investments for long-term growth. Think about your financial goals too, won't you? Saving for a house deposit. You'll need a different strategy than someone stashing cash for a well-deserved holiday. The key is to be intentional, to make informed decisions that align with your values and your vision for the future. Now, once you've got that emergency fund sorted, you can start thinking about other savings goals, can't you? These are the things that bring a little sparkle to your eye, the dreams you're working towards. Perhaps it's that dream holiday you've always fancied, a deposit for a swanky new car, or maybe even early retirement to spend your days pottering in the garden. Whatever tickles your fancy, having a dedicated savings pot for each goal can work wonders. By compartmentalizing your funds, you can track your progress towards each goal more effectively and stay motivated along the way. Plus, it's quite satisfying watching those pots of money grow, isn't it? Now let's talk about making saving as effortless as a summer breeze, shall we? Because let's face it, life gets busy and it's easy to let good intentions fall by the wayside. That's where the magic of automation comes in, my friends. Think of it like setting up a direct debit for your bills, but instead of money going out, it's steadily trickling into your savings account each month. You can set up a standing order with your bank to transfer a fixed amount on a specific date, say, the day after payday. The beauty of this is that you don't even have to think about it. The money is whisked away before you have a chance to spend it on anything else. And before you know it, you'll be pleasantly surprised by how much you've managed to accumulate. Now, here's a handy tip I've picked up over the years. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, as the old saying goes. The same principle applies to your savings, wouldn't you say? Instead of lumping everything into one big pot, consider dividing your savings into separate accounts for different goals. You could have one for your emergency fund, another for your dream holiday, and another for that long-term investment plan. Think of it like having separate drawers for your socks, shirts, and trousers. It keeps things organized, easy to manage, and you can see at a glance how much you have for each purpose. This approach also helps to mentally compartmentalize your savings. Now, just like a garden needs regular tending to thrive, your savings plan deserves a bit of attention every now and then, wouldn't you agree? Don't just set it and forget it, my friends. Make it a habit to review and reassess your savings strategy at least once a year, or whenever your circumstances change. Take a look at your income and expenses. Have they gone up or down? Are you still happy with the amount you're saving each month? Do your financial goals need adjusting? Life is a dynamic process, and your savings plan should evolve alongside it. This is also a good time to check the interest rates on your savings accounts. Are you getting the best possible return on your hard-earned cash? It might be worth shopping around for a better deal or considering other savings options, such as fixed-term deposits or ISAs. Remember, managing your finances is an ongoing journey, not a destination. By reviewing and making adjustments along the way, you can ensure that your savings plan remains aligned with your goals and helps you achieve financial well-being. Well, there you have it, my friends. We've covered a lot of ground today, haven't we? From the importance of having a financial safety net to the power of setting clear savings goals, I hope you've picked up a few useful tips along the way. Remember, managing your finances doesn't have to be a daunting task. It's about making conscious choices, being prepared for the unexpected, and taking small, consistent steps towards a more secure future. Even putting aside a little bit each month can make a world of difference over time. Think of it this way: just as you look after your physical health with a balanced diet and regular exercise, your financial well-being deserves the same care and attention. By building healthy savings habits, you're investing in your peace of mind, your freedom, and your ability to pursue the things that matter most to you. So what are you waiting for? There's no time like the present to take control of your financial future. Start by reviewing your income and expenses, set yourself some achievable savings goals, and explore the different options available to you. Remember, every journey begins with a single step. Don't be afraid to start small and gradually build up your savings over time. Consistency is key, my friends. Even if you can only spare a few pounds each week, it all adds up in the end. And remember, you don't have to do it alone. There are plenty of resources available to help you along the way, from financial advisors to online budgeting tools. Don't be afraid to ask for help or guidance if you need it. The most important thing is to take that first step and start building a brighter financial future for yourself, onwards and upwards.